Hello, and welcome back to the Mind Body God Connection. Today is part 2 of our series on obesity. We're going to talk about how you can get the victory over the bulge. But first, let's do a quick recap of what we talked about in part 1. Remember Dee Dee? She was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She was sick and tired of carrying around an extra person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we discovered the identity of Dee Dee, me, Darlene DeVera. Here's a picture of me before and after. As you can see, I gained the victory. And as a result, I am 80 pounds lighter. As we know, obesity is an epidemic sweeping through America. 72 million U.S. citizens are overweight and are obese, and the numbers are increasing. So how did I lose the weight? And more importantly, how did I keep it off for 20 years now? If you are struggling with a weight problem, I hope that the principles which I learned will help you. How did I lose the weight? How did I go from eating any and everything that was in sight to a normal weight? Over the years, I would lose 5 pounds here and 10 pounds there, and it was not until I started a serious exercise program and practiced portion control that I was able to finally lose the weight. And of course, I had to cut out a lot of junk food. But I continued to be compulsive. I continued to suffer from compulsive overeating. And as I got closer to a normal weight, I became a closet eater. I would go out with friends and, we'd go out and eat, sit down, and I would eat normal. I was very polite, ate a certain portion, and that was it. But when I got home, I would go on a rampage, just eating any and everything that was not nailed down. And without fail, following these binging episodes, the shame, the guilt, the remorse would always kick in. And of course, these days were followed by episodes of fasting and just eating a normal portion. Try not to regain the weight. It was a ritual. I was powerless. I felt miserable. Remember in 1 Corinthians 15, I was of all men, woman, most miserable. And in desperation, I cried out to the Lord in bitter tears. Paul said, "O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death?" Now, I had called on God so many times in the past, but this time it was a different call. I had called on him and he heard me, I'm sure, but I was not willing to change. I was not to that point of desperation. But this time, this call was different. And I said, "Lord, if you don't answer me, I'm going to die." And boy, did he answer me in a way that I never expected. That was the day that I had become sick and tired of being sick and tired. I went to my bedroom and I was just crying, pounding on the floor and screaming in agonizing tears with heartfelt pain. And I said, "Lord, please deliver me. I need help." And he answered. In Jeremiah 33:3, he says, "Call upon me and I will answer thee and show you great and mighty ways which you know not." And boy, did he answer my prayer. And in a way that was totally unexpected. I had never discussed my eating disorder with anyone. In fact, I didn't know it was an eating disorder. But the very next day, out of the blue, a coworker walked up to me and began a conversation about her problems with food. She told me that she was going through a treatment program because she had an eating disorder. I was dumbfounded. I could not believe what I was hearing. You mean to tell me there is a name for what I have and I can get treatment for an eating disorder? God heard me loud and clear, and He intervened quickly. That very week, I enrolled in that same 3-month program for eating disorders. And in desperation, God provided the support that I needed to go forward. Am I cured? I wish I could say yes, but no. Just like with an alcoholic or a drug user, those memories are there on the nerve cells of my brain. I call them sleeper cells. And with the right stimulus, those same nerve cells that were once bombarded over and over again for so many years will give a rush of dopamine. The difference is that now I have learned how to deal with my emotions, and I put food in its proper place. I have lost the extra weight, a total of 80 pounds, and I have maintained it for nearly 20 years. So let's go down the road to recovery. This road is ongoing. As the scripture says in Luke 9:23, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily. I have to die to what I want and to do what is right for my body because it's not mine. It's God's temple. And He gives us simple methods in the Bible to maintain it. For years, I searched high and low for the spectacular. And if it didn't sizzle, spin, or do somersaults, I questioned its validity. But somehow, they never measured up. But God's plans are simple. They are simple principles that are affordable and offered to all. I call them the 6 keys to eating, and I use the acronym EATING, E-A-I-N-G. E is for emotional baggage. First, we must begin to deal with our emotions. Many of us are carrying around emotional luggage. We have been carrying around emotional luggage for years. Why are we carrying burdens that we were not responsible to carry? Check out these bags. Some of the bags are the little cute Gucci bags with 2 or 3 years of junk. And other people have these huge, gigantic, supersized bags with 20, 50, 70 years of garbage. It all stinks, and it needs a proper burial. Isaiah 1:6 describes our condition this way. From the sole of our foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores that have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. These emotions come from old wounds that are eating out our mind and bruises that have caused damage to the body. Compulsive overeaters, just like drug addicts and alcoholics and other addictions, are symptoms. They're not the problem. These behaviors are a way of coping with emotional pain. They drown out the chatter and they numb the pain. So in emotional eating, we need to take an inventory. You need to ask yourself the hard questions. What is eating me? What is the root cause? What are my triggers? How do I resolve these issues? Who do I seek out for counseling? We need to make this a matter of prayer. Ask God to show you the areas in your life that need healing and allow Him to guide you through His Word, through a friend, a pastor, or even professional counseling. Some issues are so deep that only counseling can help get to the root of the problem to get you back onto the road of recovery. A is for assessment. In 1 Corinthians 11:28, the Bible says, a man ought to examine himself before he eats the bread and drinks of the cup. We need to evaluate our eating habits. How many meals are you eating a day? Is it 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or is it 1 meal all day long? The word is out that in order to lose weight, you need to eat frequent meals, 5 or 6 meals a day. This is not a good idea, and I disagree for several reasons. One is that frequent meals interfere with the brain's ability to regulate leptin levels. Remember in our last lecture we talked about leptin? It's a protein hormone that sends signals to the brain to stop eating. When we are hungry, ghrelin is involved. It tells the stomach, it's a hormone that's produced in the stomach. It travels to the brain and it says, I'm hungry, you can feed me now. When we eat frequent meals, it throws off the natural chemistry of this balance. Leptin levels do not register as being high, so we continue to eat. Leptin is also involved in energy production. It increases our metabolism. If our leptin levels are low, which happens with eating frequent meals, we have a slower metabolism and we don't burn calories as efficiently. Another reason why I believe that frequent meals are not a good reason is because the stomach needs time to rest. Frequent meals keeps the stomach in constant motion. The stomach needs time out. A is for assessment. What type of foods are you eating? What is in your pyramid? Some of us have what I call designer foods. We have designed our own food pyramid. Instead of the traditional fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables, we have a redesign which I call the 5 F's. It's fat, fried, fructose, fiberless, and fast. These foods can lead to obesity. Another major consideration in assessment is portion size. Many of us are eating healthy, but from a flying saucer. The next time you go to your favorite restaurant, check out the plate size. It's enough food to last for a few days. Portion control is critical. Also, we need to count the costs. That involves making the commitment, taking on the challenge, and investing the time. With the challenge, the commitment, and investment of time, you will reap the benefits of weight loss. But much more importantly, we are building a temple that will glorify God. This is the real goal. T is for taste buds. We have to tame those taste buds. The human tongue has 2,000 to 10,000 taste buds, and untamed, they clamor for the rich, sweet, salty textures. When we initially change our eating habits, it will not be very comfortable. Initially, it will not be appealing because our sense of taste has become perverted, and those taste buds have to be brought back into submission. But hang on, after 3 days, the taste buds will change, and in 21 days, you will have a new habit. The first 2 or 3 days are the worst, but just stick to it and you will be amazed. I is for increased activity levels. Exercise is an important weapon in fighting the battle with obesity. For me, it was critical. It was crucial to fighting my problem. At that time, It was foreign to me. Exercise was foreign. I had never exercised a day in my life, but I got up and I got moving. Just start moving. You don't have to run as if you're in a marathon. Research shows that just 10 minutes a day of exercise 3 times a day will yield significant benefits. Walking, biking, hiking, all of these are great forms of exercise. And research shows that physical activity with high intensity, when you alternate with a low intensity, helps you to burn more calories. It builds muscle. But always remember before starting any program to check with your doctor. Exercise has a lot of benefits. Now, we all want to look good and feel good in our clothes, and exercise helps us to achieve this goal, but the benefits go way beyond physical appearance and weight loss. Exercise is that tool that has a profound impact upon the body. It decreases our stress levels. Studies show that stress elevates cortisol levels, and high cortisol levels can lead to weight gain. It improves the mood, increases energy level, it decreases depression, stimulates the immune system, promotes a good night's sleep, and fights disease. Now, with all of these benefits, wouldn't you say it's time to pull out those gym shoes and work up a sweat? N stands for nutrition. We need nutrients that will nourish the body. During my problem with obesity, healthy foods that is, were not a priority. I had my own designer foods, the 5 F's. But now I embrace the Genesis diet, which is plant-based. This is the original diet that God gave us in the beginning. In Genesis 1:29, then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. Before embracing this new way of eating, I had a big problem with sweets. I could not eat just a few cookies or a slice of cake. I had to have the whole box and half of the cake. But on the Genesis diet, my cravings for sugar disappeared and my weight began to melt away. Scientifically, this makes a lot of sense when we consider how sugar affects the body. The average person eats 160 pounds of sugar per year, the average American. And half of this is in the form of high fructose corn syrup. The brain is really smart. It does not recognize high fructose corn syrup. It's foreign to the brain, which makes high fructose corn syrup able to slip under the brain's radar screen. And so high leptin levels are not registered. So we keep eating. We never get full. In addition to this, sugar stimulates the brain's reward center by releasing dopamine. And this craving causes us to eat more sugar. It reinforces that habit. In the Genesis diet, I get my sugar in its natural state, in the form that God gives it. And it provides glucose, a natural sugar, that feeds all the cells of the body. It's high in fiber, it's filling, and there are no miscommunications with the brain. This diet is balanced. It provides fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and it gives it to the body in the right proportions. Our last letter is G. G stands for goal setting. You want to take stock of where you are now and where you want to be. In order to succeed, we have to have a plan. You must know where you're going in order to get there. And this involves asking questions. First, are you up to the challenge? Do you have a made-up mind? What if you fail the first time or the second time or the 50th time? How are you going to handle this? I lapsed more times than I can count. But if I had thrown in the towel, I wouldn't be where I am today. People with a plan succeed because they know where they're going and they're not afraid when they hit a bump in the road. Success is often preceded by many failures. So don't feel bad if you fall a couple of times. You'll get up and you just start all over again. Now, we need to ask ourselves some questions for goal setting. What is your desired BMI? Do you know your numbers? What would be an appropriate weight for you? You need to know those numbers. Also, a support system. Do you have someone to walk you through the program? Or are you that type of person that you don't really need any support? You can do it on your own. You need to find out what works best for you and get a support system if needed. Also, weekly nutritional plans. I have found that if I plan my meals out ahead of the day before, or even the week before, I am not as prone to just grab something because I'm in a pinch. So weekly nutritional plans are very important. Also, keeping track of what you're eating. Exercise is key. If you're not exercising, you must exercise. It has wonderful benefits. Also, this would be a wonderful time to drop some bad habits and acquire some new ones. What time do you routinely go to bed? Are you getting enough sleep? Studies show that inadequate sleep decreases the production of leptin. Leptin keeps coming up. It's an important hormone. Now, this will make you think that you're hungry if you're not. So if you're staying up late at night and you start feeling hungry, it's because of leptin. Keeping late hours also increase cortisol levels, which can lead to weight gain. Timed meals. Do you have established times that you eat? As a rule, I eat my first meal first thing in the morning before I exercise. During the morning, the metabolism is the highest. And if I eat after I exercise, I burn more fat. And also, your last meal of the day should be your lightest meal, and it should be eaten no later than 3 to 4 hours before going to bed. You need to be realistic. We must be realistic with our plans and expectations. It took me a long time to pack on 80 pounds. I didn't wake up one morning and go, oh my goodness, what happened? It didn't happen overnight. So we have to be realistic. Losing 1 to 2 pounds a week is a realistic goal. And remember, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. Also, don't become a slave to the scales. Weight varies from day to day, month to month. So weigh yourself maybe just once a week at the same time and the same place. So let's count the costs of obesity. Obesity has economic and health consequences. We know that it sets the stage for a cluster of disorders called metabolic syndrome. Obesity leads to diabetes, heart disease. It also leads to many other problems, strokes. So let's look at the cost. It is staggering. In 2008, the cost was a whopping $147 billion. And according to the CDC, it is expected to exceed $230 billion within the next 10 years. Obesity is a precursor for many diseases And so, with weight loss, we can cut costs and improve our health. It is not a standalone problem. The consequences are far-reaching. There are psychological and emotional aspects, and the economics and the health issues, they all come into play, and millions are suffering from this disease and they see no way out. This is how I felt when I struggled with obesity. I realized back then that traditional weight loss programs could not offer me any long-term solutions. And after repeated failures, after hitting rock bottom for so many years, I finally looked up to the only one, the Creator God, who could provide healing for me, complete healing, mind, body, and spirit. God gave me what I needed when I needed it, and He put me on the right track. If you are struggling with a weight problem, I encourage you to take this challenge. Start the journey. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, just know that you will arrive. The race is not to the swift, but to those that endure unto the end. Until next time, remember, it is in the Creator God that we live, we move, and we have our entire being. I know that God did it for me, and I know with prayer, taking up the challenges, and commitment, He will do it for you. I will see you in our next program. God bless.
Is there a connection between what we think and how we feel? Does the mind talk to the body and the body to the mind? Does this communication affect our spiritual walk? In her new book, Mind, Body, God Connection, Darlene D. Hall explores the links between the mind and the body and its development of disease. Mind, Body, God Connection is available at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon.com, and Christian bookstores nationwide. Mind, Body, God Connection by Darlene D. Hall.